Coach, good to see you.
Good to see you, brother.
Year 2 at the highest level of
Year 3.
Year 3 in classification in 6A ball.
Yes, sir.
How did you feel? After coming after last year, what did y'all learn?
Year 2. It's been about just changing the culture a bit, getting kids to buy in, and really growing the love of the sport. Getting kids up, trying to grow the program, get our numbers up. We've grown our program, and had a really good season last year. I mean, we were in every ball game pretty much, and then we're playing for it at the end to get in the playoffs, and came up a little short. So that gave us something this offseason to build on. We're continuing to just go in the direction we want to go, getting kids to buy in, and it's been fun. It's been fun to watch.
Talking about buy-in, I talked to some of the kids earlier. They were talking about chemistry. The team's a lot tighter this year. What have you seen in just terms of how they're getting along?
I think it's exactly that. They're holding each other accountable. We're getting trending more toward player-led teams, and those are always your best football teams. So, if I'm not trying to coach effort and all that stuff, and the kids are holding each other accountable for that, I mean, you're seeing your program go in the right direction.
Coach, you talked a little bit about just being right there. You look at from the first game I ever saw when I got here to Tyler, Texas, was Tyler versus Tyler Legacy, and y'all were right there in that one.
Yeah.
All season it feels like you guys were just barely just right there. What's it going to take to make that jump? To really get there.
I just think staying the course. Game of inches, right? Mistakes here and there, coaching-wise and player-wise. I mean, I'm definitely not perfect. I make mistakes, and that's what I tell our kids. It's not going to go perfect. How do we respond to adversity, and how do we grow from those things? So I think going to the next year, you're going to have a few guys back, and we're going to see where we grow here. And then the big thing is, starting fast and finishing strong, and that's both halves, right? So I always call it the last 2 minutes of the first half, first 2 minutes of the second half, establishing that momentum and going out and then letting the game go where it's going to go.
From what I understand, a lot of this top-end talent on this team is younger guys. When you have a season like you did last year, or maybe things just aren't going your way and stuff like that, how do you go about keeping their minds right, keeping them in this?
Because it's the next man up mentality, next game up mentality. You got to understand that stuff's not going to always go your way. The ball's not always going to bounce your way. We understand that, but it's learning how to clear it, learning how to go back to work and righting your wrongs. So I think the guys are buying into that. We're excited to get on the field with them. In the league we play, preseason and district, it's a toss-up every week. We play some really, really good football teams. And we've got to learn how to manage those situations when momentum may be on that other sideline. How do we get it back, and how do we minimize mistakes and execute and keep ourselves on the field or get ourselves off the field defensively to go and do what's right for our football team, and that's win the game.
Coach, what did you want to see your team work best at this offseason?
Just getting stronger. I think falling in love in here in this weight room. And then, this summer, throwing in the speed part to it, getting some speed training, getting in shape basically, but holding our strength, because I think in the fourth quarter of games your strength will take over. And so, we saw a bunch of great jumps program wide. Kids are really getting stronger, and like I said, just taking our strength, knowing we have that foundation, and we can always fall back on that to go win football games.
Hey, you've been here a little bit. You've seen what 6A football looks like. What's the difference between the 5A and 6A?
Really not that much, other than enrollment, right? Really good 5A football teams, both levels, Division I and Division II. Really good football teams. And the same thing with 6A. You're just talking about more people in the school building. So you're going to get football, good football, whatever classification you're going to play. And I think the big difference is just numbers, right? So depth. Now you've got 5A football teams that are really deep. And you've got 6A football teams that aren't very deep, So I think that there's not a big difference in quality of play. It's just more the enrollment. So you're going to get good football every Friday night, especially in East Texas. There's some really good football teams out here.
And you're going to get a good 5A team right off the bat.
That's right.
Week 1, Texas High. How important is it to get established in that game? Is that one that you're putting a lot of emphasis in, and you got to win that one?
Well, we're putting emphasis on that just because it's the first game, right? there's going to be their mistakes, your first game mistakes. The big thing is who can minimize those mistakes that first week. And then we're going to line up and we're going to go give them our best shot. Coach Stanford does a great job, and they've got athletes out the wazoo down there. So it's always a great test for us to play those guys. They're good, well coached, good football team, but we're going to come out there and we're going to line up with them and see where we're at for sure.
Coach, what's that culture like on game day here in Tyler Legacy? What makes this spot unique?
I just think, we let our kids be them, right? So we're going to have music playing. We're going to let them get into their routine of what they want to do. Everybody's different. You got a locker room in there full of 60 to 70 different people, right? So you got kids with their headsets on. You got kids, with the music playing on their jukebox or whatever. Jukebox, I sound old right there. But on their speakers and stuff like that. So whatever you got to get right to get your game, we're going to let our kids be them. And then, when it's time to go out there for pregame, that's when we start locking in, getting loaded, and here we go.
Coach, did lose some pieces with, Mr. Hood is gone.
Yes, sir.
How does it feel you have to go replace that?
That's right.
Where's that going to come from?
It comes from, kids right here in Tyler, America. We got guys, next man up mentality, right? So nobody's going to feel sorry for us. Quarterback, hurt himself during spring ball. And then that hurts a little bit, but, nobody's going to feel sorry for us. So, he's doing a great job of trying to get himself back ready to go. But we've got, another kid coming up that we're going to get ready to play. And same thing at receiver. We've got some really good young talent that can play. It's just they're going to have to grow up fast. TK Brown was one of those that started for us last year as a sophomore. He's going to be a junior. He's going to have a bigger role this year. And he knows that, and he's excited about that. Harris Brownlow, another guy that's, been here all 4 years. He has changed his body. He's had a really good spring, and so he's ready for the challenge. And you can go across the board and say that at every position. So we're excited to see our young guys and see even our seniors that are coming back. We have different expectations. You're not a junior anymore. You're a senior. I'm going to expect more things out of you as seniors. So we're excited to see those guys grow and get out on that field and compete. And that's the main thing. Just go compete, and everything will take care of itself.
You mentioned how the players adapted to maybe a change like quarterback getting hurt. How have the coaches, approached that kind of challenge, right before the season starts?
Yeah, you change your mindset a little bit. But we feel really good about Kaysen. He had a great spring himself. He got to learn from Zach all spring, and Zach's been in his ears all summer. He's there helping him and helping him grow. So while Zach's rehabbing and trying to get himself ready to go, we've got Kaysen that we're going to groom up and have him come and hopefully do some great things for us. And then you got a guy like Vaughn Lane has been a quarterback. He's going to continue to be a quarterback, but he's also playing tight end for us. So we're doing everything we can to put the best 11 on the field and to help Kaysen, right? Because he's going to be the young guy now. And so these guys it's time for them to grow up and help him and help him grow as the quarterback of our football team.
How does that feel as a coach? My guy he's hurt, but he's still helping. He's still, showing some leadership.
That's why you get in it, right? Zach's a tremendous talent, but he also cares about his guys, and he's Kaysen's biggest fan. Kaysen listens to him. He helps Kaysen. He's helping us coach him. So I think that's such a positive to have one of your peers out there that's got your back, and it's helping Kaysen a lot this summer.
I guess, if there's one thing that you guys got, regardless of the quarterback that's out there, is the offensive line in front of them. You guys got a pretty talented squad up front. What makes that group special? That they can just put it together like that.
Yeah,
obviously you guys got some talent up with Big Juice.
That's right. That's right. But I just my philosophy has always been, since I've been here, is big men rule the world. So the big guys up front, both sides of the ball, they're gonna run our football team, and they're gonna be how far we go. They're gonna how many games we win. It's all gonna come down to them and what they can do. If they have a great season, we're gonna have a great season offensively. If we have a great season on the defensive line, we're gonna have a great season defensively. So those guys, they don't get the limelight. They don't get they're the funnest people to be around because they just go out and they do their job and they protect your football team in all honesty. And so I'm excited to watch those guys. We're big. They've been playing together for a long time. We're going to be juniors pretty much, a couple seniors. Few seniors, but we got a good nucleus of guys in the offensive line and the defensive line, and I can't wait to watch them go out and cut them loose against somebody else other than ourselves.
I'm not gonna say if, I'll say when. You know, when this team wins, it's going to be because of blank. Why?
Offense and defensive line. Big men rule the world. Big men rule the world.
Yes, sir. All right. If there's one game you guys want to win this year, which one is it?
I'm gonna have to say the first one, Texas High, because that's the next game up. If you ask me after Texas High, it's gonna be Tyler High. You know, if you ask me after Tyler High, it's gonna be Marshall. So, I mean, right now all my focus is on that scrimmage, so we can see kind of where we're at as a football team against Corsicana, and then we go right to Texas High the next week, and that's the most important game on the schedule, and that's always how it's going to be. We can't look ahead. We can't look, in the past. So we're going to focus on what's right there in front of us, and we're going to go attack that week by week.
You guys got a brutal schedule. You guys play a lot of good football. There's no off weeks for y'all.
No.
When you look at it, how do you feel? How does that make you feel? You guys got to be on it every single week.
Yeah, I think that's what you want as a competitor, right? You want to go out there and get challenged every week, and to be the best, you have to beat the best. So, you look at across the board what we're playing in non-conference with Texas High, Tyler High, Marshall, and Crowley. I mean, those are really good football teams, and most of the 3 of the 4 went multiple rounds in the playoffs. And then you look at our league, you got Longview, first year in 6A, they go 5 rounds deep, and then you got both Forneys, who are historically great programs. North Forney's doing a great job. Forney, went to the semis the year before. So, we get to tee it up every week, but that's also why you got to play those teams in non-district to get you ready for your district ball games. And, the non-district will get us prepared for what we're about to go through in district play.
I just got one more for you, Going into the season, coaches sometimes feel a certain way. If you could sum up how you feel going into this season with the team that you got in one word, what word would you do?
Anxious. Ready to get on the field and get started. Anxious. We got some work to do. We're not going to be ready to play August 11th, but I'm anxious to get those guys out there, start preaching, the finer details of things, and see where these guys take it and see how they matured from spring ball to fall camp. But I'm anxious to see these guys go out and compete.